On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, I talk with Mike Michaelowicz, who tells us how to survive this crisis and about his new book, Fix This Next. Hey there, and welcome to a brand new edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm your host, Kirby Hasseman, and joining me today is not only a repeat guest, but a total rock star. I'm so honored for him to be here. He is the author of Profit First, The Pumpkin Plan, Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, Surge, and so many other books that are amazing for entrepreneurs. I'm a big fan. Mike Michaelowicz, thanks so much for being here.
Kirby, it's good to see you again, and thank you so much for hosting this. I appreciate you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, I want to jump right in. You've got a new book coming up. You know I'm a big fan of your books.
I thank you.
So I'm excited about the new book. It's called Fix This Next. So just wanted to ask, sort of 10,000 foot view, what inspired you to write this book? And can you give us a little look behind the cover?
Absolutely. So it takes me about 5 years to write a book. And I emailed 5 years ago, I emailed my readers saying, what do you need now? They're all small business owners. And it was interesting. So we sent this email out twice in one day, unintentionally. But the feedback was actually surprising. The same people answered the same question, what their biggest challenge is, with different answers.
Really?
So yeah. And I was looking through this, I was like, oh my gosh, it's clear that the biggest challenge entrepreneurs have is knowing what their biggest challenge is.
That's interesting.
Right. So that became the thesis for this book. So I spent the time investigating, studying. And what I developed is a process to pinpoint what to work on. Most of us, particularly right now, right? So we're under what's called macro crisis. There's economic shift. There's COVID, and we become most reactionary in stressful times. So we are feeling crisis as business owners, and we can take any action in any direction as long as it gets us out of this current moment. But we're not putting consideration in what will serve us. So we're often doing very immediate relief for long-term agony. And the question is, how do we actually do immediate relief that serves us in the future? And that's what this book was designed for, is to pinpoint what we need to do now to move us forward and make sure we're healing our company as we're managing the immediate crisis around us.
Well, the time of this then ends up being really interesting, right?
Someone asked me, did I travel to China and plant the COVID virus? No, but I did design it for this. I wish we weren't in this state of affairs. I wish crisis management wasn't needed, but I did design it for this. I never anticipated, I don't think anyone did, the magnitude of what's going on.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So in kind of doing a little research about the book, you talk about each business has a hierarchy of needs. I was fascinated by that. Can you talk about that and why it matters?
So what I did was I studied Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And what was interesting is if we look at humanity, yourself, myself, everyone listening in, if we peel back, figuratively, our skin, the essence of humanity is identical. Like if I go to the hospital because I'm having cardiac arrest, the doctor doesn't look at me and say, is your heart in your foot? Like, where's your heart? They know immediately where to go because the triage, biology is the same, so the triage is the same. Well, in business, if we peel back the skin, so to speak, I notice is every business is effectively identical. There's a common DNA. So when it comes to addressing the needs or the triage of the business, we simply go to where the heart is. Well, the business hierarchy of needs is like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It translates to where the need is. So real quick primer on Maslow for anyone that's not familiar with it. Basically says there's foundational needs for humanity, which is biological or physiological needs, water, food, oxygen. Once you have that satisfied, then we address other needs like safety from harm, shelter, and it keeps going up to self-actualization. And Maslow argued that any time if a higher level need is being addressed, but a lower level need becomes important, we automatically revert to it. And you're experiencing it right now as people are losing jobs, they're losing the security or safety of finance so that they have to address it. I need money now. Some people are in really bad states where they don't have food on the table, and so that is pure survival. Well, in the business hierarchy of needs, the business has a similar structure with one significant differentiator. We are not biologically wired into our business. We're biologically wired into ourselves. If I'm eating something and I start choking, I will biologically respond by trying to expel it, to get it out, because my oxygen is deprived. But in business, we're not biologically wired into our business. We often trust our gut, and our gut, since we're not neurologically wired into our business, directs us down the wrong path. And so we do illogical things. The run on toilet paper. There's a guy who has a garage full of toilet paper in our neighborhood. Like, he's got a supply for the next 20 years. Like, his problem isn't going to be wiping his ass. His problem is going to be preventing that toilet paper from getting moldy. He's got to buy equipment now to ventilate his garage. It's illogical, but it's trusting our instinct and going in this herd kind of mentality. In business, a lot of people are responding right now by saying, I need to take on loans. And they don't understand the consequence of loans. And what I'm trying to tell people is, you need a loan. There is a root cause why you need a loan. We need to fix that root cause. We actually may have to cut costs. We may have to lay people off. We may have to actually change our offering. Well, the business hierarchy of needs has 5 levels, and here's what they are real quick. The base is profit. That is the creation of cash. If you have no sale, the base is not profit. The base is sales. If you have no sales coming in, you have no business whatsoever. So you need a degree of sales. As long as sales is satisfied, then it goes to the next level, which is profit. Profit is the creation of stability. And sadly, right now, some businesses have lost sales, and they're saying, therefore, I need more sales. But that's not necessarily the truth. The question is if there's some sales flowing in, do we restructure how we're doing things to bring back profitability or stability? So the question is, do we need oxygen or do we need shelter? Do we need sales, which is oxygen, or shelter, which is profit? And some people, there's this permafreeze coming through. We're going to experience hypothermia, and we're trying to just breathe deeply to get out of it. No, we need shelter, and that's focusing on the profit level. The next level above profit is called order. That's the creation of organizational efficiency. It's where you're not dependent on any individual, particularly the owner themselves, for the operation of the business. The next level is impact. This is the creation of transformation. It's where your business is of service beyond the transaction, where you're impacting and changing people's lives. The highest level is legacy. And what's so fascinating about my research in legacy, business owners discover, there's a day you'll discover when you achieve legacy, is that you were never a business owner in the first place. You were a business steward. You brought something to life, and it's actually about the company. It's about it as opposed to us. And that's when we designed the business to live on into perpetuity, to be of service beyond us. So that's the 5 levels. Wow. And the last thing I want to share is right now is the basis being compromised for many people. Many businesses that were focusing on being of service and changing lives have to revert to, we've got to bring stability, cutting costs, increasing margin, improving the health. We need to bring in sales. So many of us are now cycled down to the base. And we have to concentrate our efforts there.
Wow, that's super powerful. I can't wait to dig into this. Final question for you, Mike, is, look, and you have done a great job of kind of talking about the time that we are in right now. I wanted to start doing a drinking game where when a business leader says we are in difficult or unprecedented times, you take a drink.
Oh my God, I'd be wasted within 3 minutes.
That's right. Yeah. But what advice would you give entrepreneurs now to survive and hopefully come out of this a little bit stronger?
I got one hack that I talk about in Fix This Next that really applies. I call it the 1-step back technique. And what it is a simple way to analyze what other offerings you can generate. You look at your final offering and then you reverse. And what you need to realize is that your final offering historically is the culmination of little mini offerings. And these can become your new primary offering. The example is restaurants, because they're so affected right now. A restaurant's final offering is bringing food and placing it on the table. So it's the delivery of food, or the food at the table. We simply now ask, what happens 1 step back? 1 step prior to that, what's the activity? And what it is actually the carrying of food. So carry out or take out is an obvious solution. The question is, how do you amplify that? One restaurant is actually doing an amazing response. They teamed up with a food truck. The food truck is doing food runs and deliveries into neighborhoods while they are the kitchen. Very smart application of delivery. What happens 1 step prior to that? Well, 1 step prior to carrying food to the table, the restaurant traditionally would prepare the food in the kitchen. Okay, preparing food in the kitchen is a solution now. Can you prepare, menus or recipes, I should say, for your 10 most popular menu options and sell those to customers? Can you actually do a cooking training and teach people how to do it? Could you do cooking classes where people are zooming in with your chef, and now families are enjoying not just family time as a cooking session, but they're cooking your favorite meals? That's a new option. What happens one step prior? And we keep going back. One step prior to that, of course, is procurement of the meats and vegetables, the raw ingredients. Can you now procure those, carve them up, and you become basically the blue apron for your local community? What happens? And we just keep on going one step back, and we'll see all these offerings that you already had in your business, they just now become the new primary offering.
Wow, I love that. That's super interesting. This is great, Mike. I know you're a busy guy and getting ready to launch this book, so thank you for taking the time. You've answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
Yeah, I got a big one for you, and I love that you do this. It's all about confidence. So right now, there's no question people's confidence is shaken, and I don't know if there's a switch you can turn back on, but how can people regain confidence in themselves?
No, that is a super good question. So I can only sort of speak for myself. I think that I heard somebody say that the fear is comparable to fire, right? And so the oxygen for fire, or the fuel for fire is oxygen. Yes. And the fuel for fear is time. And the way to sort of lean in and put out a fire is to take away the oxygen. The way to take away fear, in my mind, is to take away the time. I think that action is often the antidote for so many things that are go against what we need in our life. I mean, I think of myself. My daughter is a performer and dancer on a cruise ship. And she is look like, what is going to happen with my career? And it's like, and I said to her, I mean, you get a chance to mourn your what's going on right now. After that, it's take action. What can you do to sharpen your skills? What can you do to get in better shape? What can you do to grow your social media platform? For us, what we've done is looked around and gone, when we feel helpless, how can we be helpful? And so we've tried to double down on creating content. We've created a marketing course. I know you're doing similar things like that. And so for me, it's about action. When I feel like I am fearful, whatever the next right step is, work toward that.
That's awesome. No, I love that analogy, dude. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Mike, thank you so much. Good luck on the book. We will be sharing places where you can get the book, but also get some extra stuff as well. So, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time, okay?
I really enjoyed this. If it's okay, I do have one resource we activated in response to
Please.
COVID. Okay, so we set up fixthisnext.com. We now have a free evaluation, and it's live now. So you don't even have to read the book, admittedly. You can go in and test your business. No download, no nothing. It just presents the answer. This was something we weren't going to roll out till after the book, but now we decided to activate it immediately. So if anyone's interested in pinpointing what they should do next to take action, fixthisnext.com is just an available resource.
Awesome. Mike,
cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
we'll have to do it again, okay?
Oh, I would love to, Kirby. Take care.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.